Welcome to the Community Scholars. Today we have faculty member Galia Lahav and student guest speaker Caroline Atiku. So we have seen the inhumane treatment that children from illegal immigrants have been facing. And it hasn't been covered recently. And I want to know, why is it?
One of the issues here is that there has been so many damaging consequences, not only from the children of undocumented migrants, but all aspects of migration have now been on serious damage repercussion, that we are now dealing with a more comprehensive issue of how to address the asylum issue and undocumented migration more generally. The idea of the children, as inhumane as it is, has been an issue that's going to come up, I believe, with the Supreme Court, and it's going to be constitutionally challenged. The question is how long it's going to take. People right now in this country are so taken with all aspects of the migration effrontery that this is just one of many very disheartening issues, and one that I assume is going to come under international intervention. So for now, as much as you think we're not paying attention to the children, I think that this is an issue that has almost 100% really disapproval along the bipartisanship. It's the other issues regarding asylum seekers and undocumented migrants that have really taken first place, which will trickle down to really addressing the children as well.
Do you feel this is the only way that they can take these children into custody with this mistreatment that they have been given them, or are there like other options that they can actually?
Well, the issue with the children is really not more than a deterrence strategy. The idea is to prevent people from migrating to this country. The idea is that you can use children as pawns. If people think about the separation, the notion is that they will perhaps not make that kind of move. They will not take those risks. The problem is that what we really lack understanding about is that these people are fleeing such horrific situations, inevitable situations, that they will continue, despite all odds, to really make those type of moves. That this is not going to be a deterrence strategy for people who are fleeing for their lives. So if we believe that by putting out this notion that their children will be taken away from them, these people will not actually risk such a thing, then I think we're really going to be quite surprised. And I think one of the reasons that we are very, very much at a impasse is that I think many of us don't understand that migrants of these nature do not have a choice. Right? These are not just migrants. These are people who are forced to flee. Yeah. So between their lives and perhaps a short-term separation of their children, they probably would still opt to preserve their long-term life. And therefore, these people are not going to be stopped whether or not their children are separated. So really, we are going to have to figure out a more holistic answer to the illegal, or I would say the undocumented flows that we're experiencing now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like when it comes to like illegal immigration, like putting the children, people like think like focusing on just the little kids, and like the little children will allow the parents or like the relatives to like move back home, but they have to understand like there are like serious stuff, like almost like death situations that are like really going on. So even if it comes to like the children being taken away or people being separated, everybody would like put their children first, but they would rather like have their children like separated from them and living a better life in the US than go back to like that, to go back to the situation that they're living back home. So nobody will like choose going back over like the situation happening here. So we probably have to like figure out something to like keep the families together. It's going to take like a while because you know the two parties don't like agree. It's going to probably take a whole lot of process and like people, but they have to figure out ways to close all those like loopholes and like keep all the families together rather than like trying to separate parents and like
Absolutely.
children. Yeah.
And by the way, the reason I'm talking about the Supreme Court or some kind of legal intervention is that in fact we are, by doing so, people don't talk about this too much, but by doing so we're actually contravening international law. We're intervening human rights law because every human being in the world has a fundamental right to live with his or her family. This is an international human right, and as far as I know, United States has been a party to almost all of the big instruments, the United Nations on basic human rights, on Declaration of Human Rights, so on. So this is an issue that if it doesn't get addressed domestically, will certainly be addressed in the international realm. And as you can see, we are one of the few countries that are actually conducting this kind of strategy, which does not, in the European case, even go that low. And the Europeans have quite a bit of problems as well, but not with regards to family reunification, because that is a right that has been reserved for every human being, whether it is a migrant or a citizen. This is a right of the human being. And this is something that I wanted to just to note, that there is also important reasons that we don't even talk about them as illegal migrants or the children of illegal migrants, because we understand that there is no human being that's illegal. These are people that are perhaps trying to gain access to the country undocumented, but not illegal.
There was a time where you hosted a oath ceremony for citizenship.
Yes.
And I would like to know, what was it like, the emotions of the people that you were able to, with your presence at firsthand, how
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. That's great. That's one of the most positive experiences I've been able to participate in vis-a-vis an immigration issue. The notion that we can honor people that really come to this country and partake loyalty by, in fact, taking an oath of allegiance to this country through citizenship naturalization. We were very fortunate at Stony Brook to be able to host this ceremony many years ago when President Shirley Kenny was here, and I was very, very honored to be the MC of that ceremony at a time when it was particularly, I should say, personal to me. At that time, not only was I an expert on immigration, and as I am today, but I had recently adopted my son from Russia, and he himself was never able to, as a baby, become formally naturalized, meaning become an American citizen. But during the ceremony, I was able not only to see all of the joy of others that could so immerse themselves in that spirit, but also feel it through my son, who was a baby, the actual privilege, the right of being an American, but also to understand that with it comes the duties. And that's something that really I thought about a lot in the room at the ceremony, that citizenship is not just about what a country gives to you, whether it gives you right to vote or right to work or right to go to school, but it's also the duty of a human being to perform civic kinds of responsibilities, not only pay taxes, but really duties that we have as humans to create a community. And that's what I was thinking, whether these people here, they could feel such joy, and what they could add as part of their contribution, their duties to this country to make it a better one. Since I work at Stony Brook University, especially the opportunity to work with young generations, many of whom have been first generation college educated or first or second generation immigrants, I feel every day how people, how these young people not only have gained from the right for education, but also seeing where young people like yourself are going, what kind of duties you're going to be performing. So for me, it had both professional and personal pleasure. But I should add one last thing about it. When I saw these people, I took such I should say, humble impression. I was so humbled by them because I realized that they came to a ceremony, it seemed all very happy, but I reminded myself that these people not only struggled for this opportunity, but they also have, in fact, perhaps even just as much, if not more, understanding of what America is about, because you can't understand what America is about unless you come from something America is not. So these people had to take, for example, tests, civil language tests, civic tests, tests that I've given my own students just to see randomly if they could pass to become American students, American citizens, many of whom did not naturally fulfill those tests in such good ways. So I understand that when people complain about immigrants and say that they should just integrate, they should just be this way, they should be that way, what we should tell them is they probably want to integrate more. They know more about the U.S. They can speak about who their senators and representatives are, and they understand very truly the weight of American citizenship. So I think that for me, that citizenship ceremony really provoked a lot of those thoughts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for giving us support, us immigrants. Pretty sure you
Always.
can relate, Caroline.
Yeah, the oath?
Yes.
Okay, so I came here when I was like 12, and my mom already had her citizenship, but it took me and my brother 5 years to like get our citizenship. So I went to like go swear in like 2 years, well, I'm 19 now, so I swore in 2 years ago at the age of 17. So basically it was just like a building, and we just went in and everybody were like together, and you could just see like the relief and like the stress-free like mentality on everybody's face, and everybody was just like happy to be there. And I remember the guy asking my little brother like, how does it finally feel to like to be American? And my brother and I just like laughed it off. I mean, like right now with the whole like Trump situation and everything going on, I would say like relief to like finally like get our citizenship and everything. But the whole like process, I can't really like speak on the whole like immigration process because my mom like went through everything in order to like get my brother and I like the citizenship. So I know what she had to like, what parents have to go through for their children. So I'm just like, I just know that the whole like situation is a lot. So when immigrants like get to the point where you could finally like swear in and like declare like your oath to the U.S. and everything, I just know that it's just like a sign of relief. And like even though everything is not like 100% and you know everything is not like you haven't reached the point where everything is okay, you still have like that point in your heart where you're like, okay, I feel like everything will go like in a straight situation, or everything will go perfectly from now onwards. Like that's how much an American citizen means to like immigrants coming from other countries.
Thank you guys for coming, and come out next week for the next Community of Scholars.